Hey, how are you? I can hear you fine. How are you? That's alright. So are we on video or audio or either? Perfect. Um, yeah, I might actually try and close those curtains quickly. Can you give me a second? Oh, okay, perfect, cool. Okay. Is that any better? Perfect, cool. That's alright. Yeah, lots of big things going on right now, which is awesome. Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's perfect. hmm Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so basically, story and bullet point form is that went to university, felt really unsatisfied, unfulfilled, jumped into personal development, really for my own soul searching and figuring out why I was here. And then, from there, started helping people basically go on a similar pathway and same journey, started working one-on-one, moved through then into speaking and then into shifting everything online and scaling that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, totally. That makes total sense. I think with my journey, it wasn't so much that I wasn't doing high ticket and then I jumped into starting. For me, it was more that I kind of scaled my prices over the years, if that makes sense. So I started out doing one-on-one, which, I mean, my first coaching client, it was like $300 an hour, but at the time that felt huge. And then kind of scaling it through to where it is now. So I mean, we can talk a lot about that and also, up leveling your prices as you go along, and how, by, I guess, shortcutting their journey, that they don't have to go through those years of like gradually shifting it up. They can actually just start. Yeah, absolutely. So I do a 3-day mastermind in Bali with 5 people at a time, and that's 10K. Working one-on-one with me is 3 months minimum to start with, which is a 30K investment. So those, I mean, I do VIP days every now and again, but those are really the two core high-ticket items. Yeah, in terms of high end, I mean, there's a drop down from that, and there's an online version which is 5K, but that's a 12-week online version. Yeah, it's a mastermind, but you can call it a retreat if that helps people understand it better. Right. Yeah. No, more than happy to share pricing on the interview. That's totally cool. Mhm. Mhm. Sure. Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Cool. Yep, that sounds perfect. That's right. You got it right the first time. They do, and I'm like, no, it's Regan. Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly. That's all right. Let's forgive America together. That's right. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can go into, I guess, the mindset of doing the high ticket stuff because obviously, if you're not in alignment with those prices, then no one is going to invest in them. So we can go into that, and then also maybe be good around, calling in your ideal tribe because again, if you're not in front of the right people, that's going to be a big thing as well. So we can chat on those couple of things if you like. Hmm. Okay. Cool. No, you're fine. That's perfect. Ready to rock. Awesome. Pleasure. Cool. No, ready to rock and roll. Hey, Sterling, thanks so much for having me on the show. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, if I'm to start out, there's really two key things that I help people do. The first thing is around success mindset. So I get them really deep into their core mindset and really help them start conditioning that so that they can succeed, removing all of the blocks and limits that are holding them back at the same time. And then on the other side of things, I help people really figure out, what is their true message that they're born to share with the world? And then how do we build this out? How do we monetize it? How do we scale it? And how do we create a massive impact in the process? Yeah, massively. The chunk of people that I work with either are exactly all of those people you listed. They're authors, they're speakers, they're artists, they're creative people, they're coaches, or they're generally people that know that is within them and they just haven't unleashed it yet. So there are a few people where, for example, they might be a coach, but they might be a little bit of a stuck coach because it's not entirely in alignment. It's not their soul work, and although they're making money, they know it could be so much bigger if they really stepped into their true authentic self. Yeah, absolutely. So, I guess I grew up and followed a really traditional path of go to school, work really hard, get good grades, go to university. So I have a degree in architecture, of all things. Not that I've ever used it ever for a day in my life, but, I was about a year into that degree at uni, and it was actually a new lecturer that came into the room, and he said something along the lines of, welcome future architects, I want you to picture your future 5-10 years out from now. And I started getting some visuals of what that actually may have been like, right? I started picturing myself in some sort of job that I didn't really enjoy doing, that even though I was good at it, it wasn't necessarily my soul work. And I just remember getting this feeling and knowing that I had to listen to it. So I left the lecture, and I was in a funny place because I guess I had total clarity on what I didn't want to do, but I had no idea what I did want to do. So that spurred me into the world of personal development and really, starting to, I guess, do some soul searching in terms of who am I and why am I here, and what could I do to create a massive lifestyle but also a massive impact at the same time. So yeah, it was really that one moment that flipped me into action and into personal development. Yeah, absolutely. Well, initially it was the results I started getting by doing the work myself. So I was working on my mindset, and I wasn't in half-half with this. I was all the way in. I'd invested a lot of money that I didn't have, so I had to make it work. I had to get results. And I started noticing that when I went to work on my own mindset, I started seeing everything shift through different areas of my life. And all of a sudden I was like, man, this stuff really, really, really works. And I noticed that, friends, people were coming to me, they were noticing the results and saying, Regan, how are you doing this? Like, share your secrets kind of thing. So that's what made me think, well, look, how cool would this be if I could actually help other people on their journey as well at the same time? So that's what spurred me into initially actually working one-on-one with people as a coach. Exactly. That's exactly it. And it's something I say to my clients these days is that, people don't pay for your information. They're paying you for the transformation. They're paying you for the transformational results. So if you can help someone transform and especially, inspire them by your own transformation, then that's a really powerful place to be in. Yeah, look, I find a lot of people before they work with me, they're definitely in that boat. I'm actually, I guess, shocked with some people that come through in terms of what they are charging, in a sense where I just look at them and I'm like, do you not realize your value? You are creating so much change in this world and having such an impact. And you're right, a lot of people just aren't charging what they're worth. Right, absolutely. So I think the first thing is really getting people to have an awareness that they may be undercharging, or that maybe there's a little bit more value in their work that they're recognizing right now. I feel like that's the first thing, because if people don't have that awareness, then, they're never going to be able to shift and change. So it's being aware firstly, and then secondly, it's actually making a decision that you want to create more value, or you want to increase your prices, right? So once you make that decision, you need to start thinking, well, if I was to up-level my prices, what would I up-level to? And I always say to people, pick a price that is more than what you're charging, that feels like it's a stretch, but at the same time has this underlying, well, I feel like I could do that. Maybe not now, but in the future. So it needs to have that kind of energy to it. And I think the next thing is really getting people to understand their value. And one of the ways I get people to do this is I say, literally write out 50 ways minimum that you create value and that you impact your clients. And I want to know 50 ways that you were able to transform their life. And when someone does that, often they're a little bit taken aback of, wow, I didn't actually realize I had all this value, because it's quite easy to not see your own value yourself. Mm-hmm. Right, that's exactly it. And this is what I say as well. And I love that analogy that you just used, is that, people literally are leaving money on the table, because, yeah, some people come through and they might start low end and then do something mid end and then, eventually work themselves up to high end. But, many of my high end VIP one-on-one clients, they just come straight in and they're just like, I just want to work with you one-on-one. Like, this is how serious I am and this is the result I want, so let's go. And, there are a lot of people that don't want to be bothered with low end stuff or trying to figure it all out themselves. And if you don't have that premium offer, then they're just going to go, well, there's no way that this person can help me, basically. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly, that's right. So ultimately, you're doing them a disservice if you can't move past your own stuff, which is holding you back from, showing someone a way to potentially solve their problem. Absolutely, I totally agree. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, look, I definitely do. And I think it's both to some extent, like, absolutely. I think people who have challenges with selling high end and they haven't stepped into that space yet, they get it all kind of backwards. But I think there's a fusion of, they definitely are investing in themselves, but at the same time, they are still investing in you. So on that, you have to become the person that they want to invest into. But, 80% of it is absolutely investing in themselves and their own results. Yeah. Yep. Hmm. Yep. Right. Absolutely. And look, this is one of the biggest things that I have come up for clients is that, they're up leveling their prices. And even if they're doing one-on-one and then that, they up level their premium one-on-one offer to double or triple that. And then all of a sudden they're like, they almost come back and go, see, I told you no one would enroll at this rate. But I say to them, I always say, well, who have you invested in at that price point? Like, can you list me more than one mentor or coach that you've actually gone out and invested in at that level? And 99.999% of the time the answer is, oh no, I haven't done that. I mean, I've invested in myself and education and coaches and mentors, but not that premium. And it's like, well, right, so how can you authentically put something out there if you haven't actually done it yourself? It's one of the biggest things. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Right. Mhm. Right, absolutely. And, I'm sure your audience has heard the saying that, it's 80% mindset and 20% strategy and mechanics. And I was actually speaking at an event recently over in the States, and I kind of caught myself on stage saying that and feeling a little bit out of alignment with it. And then when I rephrased it, I said, look, to be honest, guys, for me and my business, my results are almost 100% mindset. And then, of course, there's action taking and doing as well. But quite honestly, for me, none of the strategy matters if I haven't sorted out the mindset stuff that goes with it, right? And for example, if I want to increase my income, I will do mindset work. And then from that mindset work, I will find a strategic way to make it happen because I'm so aligned with it and it's done in my head, right? Because exactly like you said, your external reality is created by your internal one. It's the same thing. If I want my business, it's the same thing. I go and do more mindset work, and I'm not saying then I just sit there and meditate and they appear on the door, knocking on my front door. It's not like that. I obviously take the action, but it all starts internally. And in times where I've been so focused on the strategy and I've disregarded the mindset work a little bit, it's been slightly out of alignment and I haven't got the results. Yeah, that's right. Right. So my very first client, and actually someone asked me the other day, Regan, what's your proudest moment in your business? And I think it really is this. My very first client was $300 an hour that she paid me. And, obviously looking back now, that feels so small, but at the time it was so big. I was still stuck in a time for money mentality at that point in time. So in my head, I was like, wow, $300 for an hour's work is extremely good. And then I divided it up like per minute, I think. I was really proud of myself. And so, yeah, quite honestly, I picked a price for my very first client that felt like it was a stretch, but at the same time, I still owned it. So I was still in alignment with it. I believed deep down that I could get someone to receive $300 plus worth of value by charging that. So yeah, that was my very, very first one-on-one client. Absolutely. Absolutely. Mhm. Right. Mm. Yeah, look, I think I was definitely aware of scaling up and up-leveling my prices the whole time. It's not like I was unaware of it and then I noticed it looking back. It's always been a conscious decision. But look, there's been, I guess, different turning points along the way. Some which have been more effective and more deliberate, and some which I guess I've forced myself a little bit into up-leveling my prices. And it's really, I guess, taught me that there's two ways to do this, one with a lot more ease and grace and the other one that's a lot more painful. So the first one I'll chat on is when I was starting out and it was the $300 an hour, and all of a sudden I realized, wow, look, I can really get this client and the next client and the next client some really amazing results. So I started attracting more clients in, and then before I knew it, I had like all of these clients back to back, like over 8 hours a day, paying me $300 an hour. And I was waking up in the morning feeling overwhelmed that I had too many phone calls each day, more than what I wanted to be doing for my lifestyle. And I was also feeling deep down, is this really worth my hour, right? So I literally got myself into a space almost where I was maxed out. And then I thought, well, now's the time to up-level my prices, because I prefer to work with less people and add, massive value that I'm adding and actually get paid a little bit more. So that's kind of the first scenario where I guess, reacted to getting overbooked. The other side of things is where I've consciously realized my value and I've gone, do you know what, I'm creating such incredible results for people, it's definitely time to up-level my prices. And I've done it before I got to the point where I was like overbooked and stressed out and tired, basically. So yeah, I really feel like there's two different ways to go about that. Hmm. Right, absolutely, definitely. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, one example of something high ticket that I do is my Be Your Brand Bali Mastermind, which is 3 days over in Bali. And I've actually literally come off the back of just running two of them back to back, which was really super fun. And everyone got incredible results. And that's why my voice is a little bit husky today. So, the masterminds, so they are 10K, 3 days, and they're all about unlocking your true message that you're born to share with the world, and then getting that out there in a massive way, learning how to monetize it and doing it in total alignment at the same time. So it's broken into 3 days. Day number one is all about developing. So it's all about developing your message, developing your brand. Day number two is about launching. So whether or not you have a brand or a business or you've already launched products, we basically relaunch everything and get it out there, after the base work that we've done on day one. And then step number three, or day number three, is about acceleration. So it's about how do we scale, how do we move through different price points, how do we grow over time. If they're at 7 figures, how do we go to multiple 7 figures? Like, how do we continue moving forward in the future? So that's the first one. That's the Bali Mastermind. Of course. Yeah, that's a great question. So a couple of things called me to do it. Number one, it was really my own journey through launching my personal brand and having some awesome results. And I was getting a lot of people saying, wow, I've been watching you, you're growing really fast, how are you doing this? So I definitely felt that there was a need initially. The second thing was I was actually sitting in a live event over here in Bali, and I'd run live events in the past, but I'd shifted to doing everything online. And there was this part of me that really missed it, I realized. It was part of me that really went, man, you know, I'd really love to run some live events again, but I want them to be high end, and I want them to be super exclusive. I want them to be VIP. I want them to be, you know, really high quality people that turn up. So I made some decisions around that. And when I launched it, I launched it at 5K for the first one, and I've basically scaled up through there. Look, no, I wasn't nervous about it. The way that I launch everything in my life and my business is that I always pre-launch it. So basically, I never really put much time and definitely no money into anything until someone's paid me. It's kind of like that saying, I think it's Naomi Campbell, she's like, I won't get out of bed until I've made $10,000. It's kind of like that, right? So I ended up holding a webinar online and speaking about the mastermind at the end and having people come through and apply. And you know what, if no one had wanted to apply and if it had been a terrible idea, then there was no time or money lost other than that 1 hour on that webinar. But at the time, everyone loved it. It was a great idea, and I filled 2 straight off the back of that first webinar. So I had in the past offered 5K events, and they were 7-day events in the past. So even though I'd offered the price point before, I guess it was an up level considering it was 3 days and it was more VIP and more high end. So it was the first time around that, even though I'd done the price point before, yeah. That's right. So everyone comes in and stays in a luxury villa there. So yeah, it's only 5 people at a time. Yeah, so just accommodation, they all stay together, and then we have a chef there that cooks their meals, and we head out for dinner on the last night. Yes, that's right. Yeah, the villa's included, and we actually do all the teaching there. So it's very much, you know, a casual environment. We hang out, we do the teaching, we jump in the pool and the breaks. So yeah, it's and that's the reason why a lot of people come as well. You know, it's a mastermind. It's the environment. It's the other people that show up and hanging out with them as well as with me, obviously. Exactly. Yeah, not particularly. I mean, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of other people running masterminds and doing things in Bali. Honestly, it was just something I felt like I really wanted to do. It was definitely a lot of fun for me. It felt like a really cool idea. So the fact that people wanted to do it was fantastic. I was super happy. It was, yeah, very much me wanting to do it initially. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Right. Yeah. Mhm. Yep. Mhm. Right. Oh, there's absolutely no damage done. In fact, you know, the way I get my tribe to look at it is that if anything, it's a great learning. You know, if you launch something and everyone goes, no, that's a terrible idea, I don't want to come to that, or it's not the right price point, or whatever it is, you know, they don't like the offer, then that's the learning for you. You're like, okay, cool, like that is not what my tribe wants. But look, to even add a step into that further, what I do now is that before I launch anything, I actually ask my tribe, like I ask my community. You know, for example, recently I felt called to run a money mindset event. I had a lot of people asking me about income and, you know, similar to what we're talking about here. How do you up level? How do you call in these people? How do you call in that level of money? And, you know, I just did a post in one of my private Facebook communities, or you could even do it publicly. And I literally said, I feel called to run this event. who would like to come? And I just put it out there, and I got this stream of comments being like, this is amazing, I'd love this. And obviously not everyone that says yes is actually going to commit, but that showed me immediately that there was a need. So same deal, I did not go and book the event room and create workbooks and get them printed and hire a videographer. Like, I didn't do anything until I'd done a webinar and people had paid me, right? And then you're starting off in profit, and you're starting off no money down, and there's no loss whatsoever. There's no risk. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you asked that, because my list was not big. So I had probably at that time maybe 800 people on my email list, right? It was definitely not a large list. I had, probably roughly 4,500 to 5,000 people following me on Facebook. And so, I really pumped it through social media more than my email list. It was very much, I was like, hey, I'm doing this webinar. You've definitely got to come hang out. It's going to be amazing. There's so much value. And I got people registered through there. So, from memory, I think there was 60 people actually live on the webinar. Obviously from that, 10 places were filled. It was actually 11, because a couple ended up coming along to the second one. So 2 events off that one webinar, so 2 back, yeah, I ran 2 effectively. Yes, that's right. Right. Yeah, so 11 people booked off that, because like I said, in the second one was a couple, so we ended up having 2 in one room. So 5 and then plus 6, all of that initial webinar. Now, just to be clear as well, that webinar, I still use that. If someone messages me and they say, hey, I saw your Bali Mastermind was on last week, do you have an upcoming one? Do you have places? I'm like, absolutely. I'm going to send you this training. It's an hour. I need you to listen to it. At the end, it's going to tell you how to apply, and we're going to see if you're a fit. So I still use that very same recording to fill the rest of the webinars. So I really haven't done much more work than that, to be completely honest. Absolutely. So in terms of the application process, I feel like it's for a few reasons. This is a high-end event, so I am selective in terms of who is actually at the mastermind. If I'm selling low-end on a webinar, I'm just like, here's the link, go for it, go nuts. This is a little bit different, because I want to make sure that this is the right kind of person, and they're at the right level, and they get it, and they're ready to be there, and they're super committed. So that's the first thing. Secondly, when people go through an application process, it's a little bit different psychologically for them. All of a sudden, it's not like, oh, I can just buy this event and I can buy it at any time. It's like, whoa, hang on, I actually have to apply, and I have to be accepted. So I find that the people that actually apply are so much more committed as well. So yeah, in terms of that event and that price point, it works really well. Yeah, look, I am very simple when it comes to lead generation and online systems and everything like that. My business looks a little bit different now with where it's at, and I actually have people that know what they're doing come in and do this stuff for me. But in that point of time, it was completely organic, right? So it was literally me showing up on social media daily and messaging, putting my true message out to the world, and we're talking, blogs, videos, small Facebook things, periscopes, anything that I could do in order to add value to my audience and my tribe and my community. And then from there, I would literally always have a step to move them forward. So at the end, I would say something like, hey, if you loved this, make sure you subscribe to reganhillyer.com and you can get a free copy of my book, or if you loved this, make sure you do this, and there'd be some sort of opt-in for that lead there. So it's totally organic, and it's literally, in order to build that list and fill that event, I spent zero money on, Facebook marketing or Facebook ads or anything like that. It was literally 100% showing up, sharing your message, and then organically moving them through to the next step and putting in their email. Yep, that's right. It was about, I think, roughly 4 months, roughly, of showing up. And, you know, if anyone is following me on social media, they'll know this. I show up consistently. Like, there will not be a day where I do not put my message out there, where I do not add awesome content in one way, shape, or form. So I think the one thing with it is that, you know, I'm consistent with it, and I was okay as well. Like, I wasn't expecting to have 10,000 people on my list overnight from one video. You know, I still am okay that it's, you know, it's not some sort of sprint. It's a long-term game, and I'm here to build a legacy. I'm here for the long haul. So if it's a little bit slower, it takes a bit longer, I don't care. I'm just going to keep showing up. Yeah, that's right. Well, 11 slots, and so it was 5 paid in full or 6 on a plan. So minor details, but yeah, you've got it. Right. Mhm. Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. So to work one on one with me, it's super high end. It's very much VIP, and I start off with 3 months minimum, where we basically go deep for 3 months time, and then from there there's no contract. It's literally month by month after that, as it feels right for both of us. So the investment for that is $30,000, and that covers the first 3 months, and then from there just 10K per month as someone feels like they want to continue on. The way I work with people is it is literally premium all-in access with me. So, you know, we do a call once a week, but it's not done off time. It's not like, okay, you've got your call for the week, so now you can't talk to me because my time is so precious. And, you know, years ago I had a lot of mentors that were kind of a little bit like that. And it was one thing that I was really, I guess, a little bit frustrated by. I was like, man, I've invested so much money and they don't even have like 10 minutes to jump on and answer this quick question so I can move forward instead of waiting a whole week. So for me, you know, it's literally like whenever you need me, I'm there. So they have complete access to my calendar. They can book in extra calls as they need. We touch base generally once a day or once every 2 days, either through email or Facebook private message. And basically those guys get priority. So I'll open my emails, I'll open my private messages, and I will scan, I'll filter them to unread, and I'll hit all my premium clients first and get to them, and then everyone else gets taken care of. So they're pretty much like number one. Yeah, look, it's definitely shifted over time, and I've really noticed that the work that I do and the people that I work with have shifted as well, which is interesting. But I guess my first kind of coaching package, so to speak, was $1,200 for 6 weeks of coaching. So obviously, you know, a much smaller price point than what it is now. Yeah, so that price point, that would have been just over 6 years ago, roughly. Mhm. 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 Look, there were lots of things. I think one of the key things was that I started investing so heavily in myself with my own coaches and my own mentors. You know, for example, spending over $100,000 to spend 3 days with a mentor. You know, and when you start, I guess, playing at that level, I need people to know that, you know, I did not have that money sitting there. It was not easy. It was not convenient. It was painful. I literally took out savings and a personal loan and maxed out like 4 credit cards in the process. But I was ready to do whatever it took. And I really think that when I started playing at that level, you know, I have a belief that as you up level yourself, your tribe and your community up level as well. So I noticed that I was attracting in maybe slightly different people. My work was up leveling and shifting too. And the other key thing was that I really noticed the results that my clients were getting at the same time. And, you know, over time it was like, you know, and they were literally blown away. And I had clients saying, you know, oh my gosh, you know, I'd pay 10 times what you're charging to work with you. And I really started taking that on board and started going, well, am I charging what I'm worth? And it definitely was a gradual process. You know, it's not like it jumped to 30K overnight. It has evolved and evolved and evolved. But you know, I remember even charging $10,000 for 3 months. Like, that was a big up level from what I was doing prior. And it was that same feeling that we talked about right in the beginning of, you know what, that feels big. Wow, that feels like a huge investment and a lot of money. But at the same time, it's doable. You know, I know I can get someone tenfold results, you know, at that price point. So it's that kind of sweet spot that we talked about again as well. Yeah, right. Yeah, it's exactly it. And I think that's like anything in life. It feels scary and it feels crazy and it feels like, you know, you're going to die in the process, but then you do it and it's like, oh, and the minute it's done, you have evidence that you can do it again. So it becomes a whole lot easier. Hmm. Right. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. I think initially in the beginning, it was almost like in a really like fast kind of way. It was like shock. It was like, oh my gosh, you know, that's so much money. But then straight after that came belief, and then all of a sudden it was like, well, hang on. If they can do it, I can do it. I might not be able to do it right now, but if they can do it, I can do it. And I think it's so important to surround yourself with people in your environment that are doing a lot better than what you're doing, that are more successful than you know, that are charging more than you. I think it's really important. And a mentor of mine once said to me, you know, Regan, if you're the most successful person in your environment, you've got a problem because you're not going to grow. So, you know, again, to put it in perspective, we've recently on my show we've interviewed, you know, Grant Cardone, and we went to his office and did that, and also Gary Vee, and both those guys charge either, you know, $80,000 or $100,000 for an hour of their time, and it was that same thing. It's like when you find that out, it's like, oh, but then at the same time, it's like, okay, well that's where I'm headed. Like, and it's kind of almost, validation on, it's there, it's possible, because if someone else is doing it, then why not me? And if why not me, then why not my clients? Right. Right. Yeah. 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 Mhm. Yeah. Mm. Mhm. Mm. Right. Right. Oh, it's massive. It's absolutely massive, and I think it's such a valuable point you've brought up. Even say on a webinar, if I am looking to offer out my low-end membership site, which currently is $97 per month, which is obviously such a different investment to investing one-on-one, but I reference my one-on-one and I reference my price point, and I let them know, this is what I charge, and hey, you're getting me through videos weekly, like you're getting me and my information, you're getting my coaching stuff that I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on, and you're getting this for $97. So I think it's such an important reference point for people to have. And I've seen clients especially that the minute they bring in their high-end offers, all of a sudden their low-end offers start exploding, and they're getting more people in their mid-end offers, and it's like it's all relative, because they're now positioning themselves to be just that little bit more powerful. Yeah. Right. Mhm. Yep. That's exactly it. And there's this kind of myth out there around a lot of coaches and people like that say, you can't sell super high end and offer, super low end as well. And it's such a myth, because I literally have everything from, $97 through such various price points right through my brand and through my business that it's not even funny. It's literally almost position yourself to be low end like that, then people aren't going to take your high end stuff seriously. But I agree with you. I think it actually has the opposite effect. I think by positioning yourself with high end stuff, it actually makes everything else so much more powerful. Yeah, exactly. Hmm. Yep. Yeah, right. So no, the Bali Mastermind level, the first one I did was last December. So it was really recently. It was, so what's that? It's like, is that 6 months ago? Roughly around, maybe just a bit over around that time. And now it's sitting at roughly, I think, just over 9,000 in terms of my email list. On social media, Facebook's kicking around about 17,000. I have done now some paid ads through the of it is organic, especially when it comes to the list and the following. But I really, really invest more so in putting in high-end content from a time and money perspective, rather than a traditional, like, well, let's set up a lead and an opt-in and grow the list kind of perspective. For me and what I feel like online, I honestly feel like, no one wants your free report anymore. Like, they're kind of done. Like, it's like, it's not free. People just want your email address. So in terms of list growth, my focus is around really putting out epic content and calling in my ideal tribe. And what I mean by that is, again, showing up daily, messaging every single day, putting out good quality content, right? Live streams, videos, blogs, stuff that actually adds value. And it makes people go, oh my gosh, if her free stuff is this good, just imagine what her paid stuff is like. And if her free stuff is this good, just imagine what her high-end offers are like, right? So things like, when I say investing in content, we've recently started producing an online show called Regan, Hillyer TV, which is the ins and outs of my life and how a location-free seven-figure business runs and what that looks like, and the reality of it, you know, the missing planes and the late nights and everything that goes on and all the travel, and you know, people are loving that. So even just by, instead of having an opt-in and charging for that or doing something like that, I'm just putting it out for free, and I'm really just focusing on giving and giving and giving. And especially, you know, when I started doing that, I started just noticing the followers in the list again just starting to grow organically pretty fast. Right. Absolutely. It's literally that simple. It's like, you know, figure out what is your message, what is your business, you know, what do you offer people, and then go for it. And, you know, message daily. Work at organically increasing your visibility. And yeah, sure, there's a lot of things that you could do paid-wise, which I'm sure work really, really well. But again, it's not how I've done it. So I just want people to know that you can do it organically and you can do it fast. And if you stay focused on your message and adding massive value, it does work. You know, people like people, and they like to follow people that are adding value, and they like reading the content and watching the videos. So just go for it. And then thirdly, you know, make sure you are stepping them through into some sort of offer, because, you know, it can be great having a huge following, but if you're not offering them something that's going to get them that transformational result that we talked about, then you're going to be the person that's like really inspirational on Facebook but isn't making the money you want to make, right? So you need to just kind of unapologetically keep putting your stuff out there, keep putting your offers out there, and show up constantly, and just know that if your messaging is correct, you're going to attract in the right tribe at the same time. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep. Right. Absolutely. And that's the thing. Yeah, definitely. And I think I have a little bit of that every time that I have, you know, a great idea for an irresistible offer, and I'm really excited about it. But then I think you just have to bless and release that as well, and just be like, okay, it's all part of the journey. But also make a commitment to yourself that whatever held you back from not putting out that offer, be it, you know, fear or uncertainty or lack of self-belief or self-doubt, like whatever it was, make a commitment that that's not going to happen again. So I think kind of acknowledging what's gone on in the past, and then, you know, choosing to learn from it. I think that's the most important thing. Right, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, look, I think we've covered off a lot, especially, you know, when it comes to mindset, and getting into alignment with the price point. You've touched on it, feeling like you have to be your first client. You have to be the person that actually would invest in you first. You have to be the person that recognizes your value and really understands why you're charging what you're charging. I think one of the other things that is important to note as well is that one of the things I focus on even is calling in my ideal tribe. So, you know, if you're saying, you know, I've got this high-end offer, it's going to change your life. If you're not necessarily getting in front of the right people, then that may be another reason potentially why it's not clicking and why it's not working for you. Now, you know, I am very, very deliberate with the people that I work with, the people that I call in, especially the people that I work with one-on-one, because my time is so valuable and my time is so precious that I am not going to speak to someone, you know, once a week and constantly talk, you know, Facebook and email with them if I don't like them, you know. And I mean, I know that sounds a bit mean maybe, but it's kind of true. It's like, it's not worth the money for me to actually work with someone that I don't really believe in and that I don't click and gel with. So, you know, all through my authentic messaging and organic tribe building that we've spoken about on this interview, I'm very direct and very clear in terms of the people that I want to call in. And I believe if you're not, then you're just going to kind of get a wash of a lot of different people that will resonate with you for some reason, but it might not be the reason you're looking for. So for example, to give you guys an example, I might do a webinar, and at the end, literally, you know, if this resonates with you, if you are a 1%er, if you are someone who is already extremely successful but you feel like you're just getting started, if you're someone who's massively ready to up-level their game, share their true message with the world, and increase their impact and their income, then we need to speak. Send me a message ASAP, or click on the link, or apply now, or be on the webinar, whatever it is. But see how direct I am and speaking to those people. There'll be some people that are going, oh wow, Regan's so inspirational, this is so cool, and then they'll hit that bit and go, you know what, I don't really feel like that's me. And that's a good thing, right? So if you can be super clear on the tribe you want to call in, it not only calls in your tribe, it also filters out the people you don't want to work with, and that's just going to save you from years of feeling unsatisfied and unfulfilled, even if you end up earning the money, right? So I think that's a pretty valid point to touch on. Right. Awesome. Thank you so much for having me on, Sterling. That's perfect. Yeah. Absolutely. Everywhere. Oh yeah, sure. Look, I always have really cool events coming up. You know, I'm always on the lookout for amazing one-on-one clients to work with, obviously, that really get this and that are really ready to up-level their life and their business. The next Be Your Brain Bali Mastermind that we spoke about is coming up in July, and then I have an online version of that launching as well, which is cool. Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was awesome. I loved it. Great questions. Oh, absolutely. No, I thought it was perfect. I didn't feel like I really had much more to say at the end because it was so well framed and covered. It was really good. Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So give me the exact wording. So it's the high ticket summit, right? Mhm. Mhm. Yep. It's totally cool. No, I'm happy to do that. It's awesome. Cool. Okay, cool. Hey guys, it's Regan Hillyer here, and you have to register for the High Ticket Summit. We have just had the most phenomenal conversation around, enrolling high-end clients and some of the blocks and limits that people find when they're really looking to up-level their price points. We've talked about calling in your ideal tribe and so many ways that you can actually take action on this right away in order to increase your impact and your income. So make sure you get onto it right now and enjoy the interview. Cool? No, look, it was really great chatting to you, and it's the same thing. It's like put out your authentic message, and I always know that there'll be something that flows back from this, so just really happy to be involved. It's super cool. Cool. Yeah. Oh, no, that's awesome. No, it's been really cool and a great interview. And yeah, definitely fire it through once it's all released and everything, and I can get it out to everyone. It's easy. Cool. Absolutely. I have to come visit one day. Awesome. You too. Bye. All right. Just finished, gang. Who's on here? Oh, there's some weird people on here. Some people I might need to block. Alright. Awesome, guys. I'm just running through questions. 3 a.m. in your country and you're listening. I'm impressed. That's awesome. Hey, Teresa. Landed in time to see this. Awesome. Hey, Peter. Nice to have you on. Are you coming back to the next Bali retreat? Hey, Vicky. Ali. Jasmine. Hey, Jen. Cool. Alright guys, has anyone got any last minute questions for me? Obviously that was the interview. It's done and dusted. How do I block someone on here? I might have to go through individually and do that. This Ruben dude can go. He's blocked. Awesome. Glad you enjoyed it, Marissa. Fantastic. I've just seen other Marissas on here too. Cool. Alright guys, I'm going to jump off. That was super long. It's been like an hour. I hope you enjoyed it. If you missed it and you've just jumped on now, it was a live interview on how to start charging premium rates with premium clients and attracting in your ideal tribe and doing it in a really aligned way, which is loads of fun. Okay, cool. So I'm going to jump off. The recording will be here so you can go back and watch it. Alright, ciao guys. Remember, you absolutely can have it all.